Okay, welcome everyone to this Being You Judgment-Free Zone. I am Dr. Anthony Mattis, and today we'll be talking about can we change the world by our or with our very energy? And the answer to that question is fuck yes. Um, Especially if we're not concerned with how the world receives us or perceives us. So one thing that I've learned over the last, I don't know, maybe 25 years in my journey, and especially the last 12 years of being involved with access consciousness, is that when you are generating and creating your life, when you're simply being you, you're too busy to care who's judging you, who's criticizing you, because there's always going to be the naysayers. And so, how many of you create your lives so that you can make other people happy? How many of you make decisions or you'll choose certain things because you're concerned about maybe what your family will think, or your religion will think, or your culture will think? And I don't know if you've noticed, but it's not about how pretty you are, how handsome you are, how tall, how short, how skinny, how fat. When you become, when you choose to actually be you, when you choose to start creating your life based on what your reality is. And I understand a lot of you might be like, well, I don't even know what it is. And that's part of the gift that the tools of access can create for you, is actually getting you to discover really who you are. What is your reality beyond family, beyond religion, beyond culture? But when you start to actually create your life and generate your life, when you wake up every day, no matter what you're going through, looking forward to what you get to create in the world, because it's your reality, your energy, your vibration, the acoustics of your very being becomes this attractive and contributory force and source in the world. So just when people start to get around you, they'll say things like, whenever I'm around you, my body starts to vibrate, or I get excited, or sometimes I'm maybe even a little bit intimidated when I'm around you, right? And it's not because you're like this intimidating asshole or anything, but it's because you occupy a space of no judgment. You occupy the space of this judgment-free zone that we're talking about. And so people aren't used to that. So when they do enter your space, and it's this judgment-free zone, when most of us spend our lives being aware of how people perceive us, or we're spending most of our lives trying to fit into other people's reality so they don't judge us or so that they do like us, when then finally they enter your space that's judgment free, they're like, oh my God, they almost don't know what to do with it because it's new. It's a unique space. And so that is the gift of when you get to be around people who function from that way. And when you choose to function that way, just by your very presence, you become an inspiration of possibilities for someone else, no matter what they've been through. So you may hear me say this like weird, wild, wacky clearing statement that we use in access consciousness. And if it sounds all weird and like, oh my God, that's like so hocus pocus, that's okay. I had that point of view too 12 years ago. In fact, I actually avoided using the clearing statement, I think, for like 3 or 6 months because I thought it was just way too weird. But if you want more information about it, you can go to www.theclearingstatement.com. Okay. But I'm going to be using this clearing statement throughout this particular series. And but it's just a way to undo the unconsciousness and anti-consciousness in any particular area in your life that's not working for you, whether it has to do with body issues, your health, money, relationships, so on and so forth. So what I like you to invite you to is to start to discover what's valuable about you that you're not willing to perceive, know, be, and receive. I'll repeat that. What's valuable about you that you're not willing to perceive, know, be, and receive? And everything that is, times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, povids, and beyonds. Because when you start to acknowledge you as the valuable product, that contributes to increasing your vibration. And because it's you, you may not notice it as much. But what will start to happen is when you start to get around people, they start to look at you different. I mean, it's weird. It's like I've been Access 12. I'm older now, right? I would be considered like past one's prime, right? So yeah, depending on your point of view, right? So I'm in my 50s and it's like, oh man. But people look at me and watch me and observe me way more than they did when I was younger. Why? Because I'm being more. I'm acknowledging the valuable product that I am in my own way, thanks to the tools of access consciousness. So what's really cool is like so many of us, we have this need and desire, not everyone, but a lot of people who come to access, to saving people, rescuing people, being that savior, because we see what's possible that people can create and we watch and observe that they're not choosing it. And when we start to get results, we want everybody to get the same kind of results that we have gotten, and we want to like share it with the world. And we can't understand why people don't choose it. So we try to teach them, we try to motivate them through speech or talk or trying to convince them cognitively. But what if it was simpler than that? What if by them observing you and what you're choosing and how you're choosing to show up in the world, not giving a shit what people think about you, and they're observing you actually out creating your past. They're watching you out create the, maybe for some of you, the horrific traumas and dramas that you've been through. And they're like, oh, what are you doing? Like, I don't understand. You should be like ruined for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? You should be wearing black every day until you die. I mean, that's this reality's point of view. And for me personally, thanks to the tools of access consciousness, it's like I've been through some horrific times. My wife had committed suicide about a year before I came to access. I was raising three little kids alone, trying to navigate through this world. Like, what the fuck? And I'm happier now than I've ever been in my life? What? That's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to carry that scar forever. And I would literally have people come into my chiropractic clinic 4 years after the fact. Are you okay? And they would be like shocked that I wasn't struggling and I didn't have like dark circles under my eyes and I wasn't like, I don't know, put on 100,000 pounds or became a drug addict or an alcoholic as a way to cope with this horrific thing that I'd gone through. And then when they would come in and ask me like, how are you okay? Basically, that was like their subtext. And I'm like, I'm actually happier than I've ever been. Yeah, I did go through that, but I've found this set of tools that have gotten me to access more of me than I ever have in any other modality I have ever done so far. And now I actually get to travel the world, which is one of my dreams, to facilitate or be a catalyst, to be a contribution, not a fixer, but to be a contribution to people so that I can say, hey, here are these awesome tools. They helped me. If you want to use them, great. If you don't want to use them, that's okay too. and watching people grow and watching people transform and watching people go beyond their traumas and dramas, go beyond their past, to watch them literally transform beyond what they thought was going to be the way their life was going to be for the rest of their lives. And I don't have to convince them anymore. It's so much easier. I don't have to save everybody just by my very presence, just by the invitation to the party of consciousness. Would you like to come to the party of consciousness? And it literally is like, once you walk through the door, it might be a little uncomfortable, but at this party of consciousness is a set of unlimited tools that basically can handle just about anything in your life that's not working for you and do whatever you want with it. And I'm doing my thing and creating. Let me know how I can contribute. It's way more easier for me as someone who functioned from trying to fix everybody, trying to save everybody and keeping them from dying. It's simpler, it's easier, but it's way more potent and powerful. So, yes, just by your very presence, when you are choosing to be all of you, when you're choosing not to have your life being dictated by the way other people say you should live your life, by you waking up every day and having this sense of gratitude for you, which is one of the ways you actually start to acknowledge you, that starts to contribute to your being, and your being becomes stronger, more powerful, and more potent. And so no matter what you look like on the outside, that's all irrelevant. It's what you be. And as you be and you move through space, because you happen to have a beautiful body, as you move through space, your very presence creates change. How does it get better than that? So everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive that has a possibility for you. No matter where you are, you could be like in the depths of sorrow right now. And that's the only way you can see the world at the moment. That's okay. I've been there. But that doesn't have to be your reality forever. But I encourage you, be around those people that are choosing different. Be around people who have been there and they've gotten themselves out of that with whatever set of tools, whether it's the tools of access consciousness or whatever else that's out there. I just know in my 25, 6, 7 years of exploration, these have been the most powerful that I've come across so far. And God knows that I've fucking done a lot of different modalities, philosophies, and all sorts of spiritual stuff. One thing that will help, which you'll find in the Being You Changing the World book, is Dr. Dain Heer, the author of that book, and the creator of a lot of different awesome tools, is he talks about creating a gratitude journal. Keep a little journal next to your bed, and before you go to sleep every day, no matter how shitty your day was, write down 3 things you're grateful for about yourself. They could be little things, they could be big things. It doesn't really matter. But when you start to develop that attitude of gratitude, guess what happens? Your vibration changes. Your energy changes. Your being becomes stronger because in the acknowledgement of your very being, warts and all, you become the catalyst for possibilities for someone else. You still may have your judgments about you. It doesn't matter. You become the catalyst of possibilities for someone else. Why? Simply by you acknowledging you, warts and all. So again, what's valuable about you that you're not willing to perceive, know, be, and receive? And everything that doesn't allow that times a godzillion. Will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine shorts, boys, poveds, and beyonds. So I know a lot of you may be in a time in your life, and I think what June is like mental health month or something. I don't know if it is like for all, but I know they've been featuring men's mental health a lot. There's this beautiful thing that we have called access consciousness bars. Okay. And it deals with these 32 points on somebody's head, on all of our heads. Okay. And the bars are these like energetic bars that go from one side of the brain to the other. And when gently touching these points that have to do with like sadness, joy, creativity, aging, hopes and dreams, we have found through the electroencephalographs, EEGs, these little things they put on people's heads, that it actually contributes and helps people with situational anxiety and depression and genetic anxiety and depression. So, for those of you who may be in that sort of space of hopelessness, find someone who could run your bars, right? You can go to the Access Consciousness website. Okay. Access Consciousness is in over 170 something countries around the world. You will find a facilitator at the furthest, probably 4 hours away. That's where my closest facilitator was when I first started. But what if that could be the beginning of creating a new set of possibilities for you? So for me, over the last 12 years, when I first got the access, I just came to get through my problems. I didn't realize what was actually available to me and for me was like to be empowered, to be more of me, and me simply to be able to maybe put my hands on someone in a very gentle way and their whole life changes. And I'm like, I didn't even do anything. But that came with time, acknowledgement of me, and a lot of vulnerability to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly of me and the great of me without a point of view. So, what would that be like for you? Would you be willing to be that powerful and potent? Would you be willing to be that contribution for people just by your very presence, not from your mouth, not from motivational speaking, but to actually transform someone's life by your very presence, which is possible, no matter how imperfect you are? How does it get better than that? Again, so anything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive that, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, puck and pod, all nine shorts, boys, poads, and beyonds. Wow, time has gone by fast. Are we coming to a close? I can talk, eh? We only got what, one more minute? I felt like I just got started. So, oh, one thing too, y'all. Again, being in the health and healing field, you don't need to be in that profession to use the tools of access consciousness. But one thing that I learned and I observed is that so much of people's quote unquote problems is as a result of them being unfulfilled, not living their lives, not utilizing their talents, their gifts, and their capacities because someone told them along the lines that they need to push it away. They need to hide it, suppress it. It doesn't really fit the family. It doesn't really fit the religion. That's kind of, kind of like keep it on a down low there. It's a little too much. And it's not until people actually start choosing for them, utilizing their gifts and their talents, capacities, where their lives become greater, healthier, happier. I mean, we're here. You were that one sperm that got away. You were the one sperm that made it to the egg and it made your beautiful body. Okay. There was a consciousness in that journey, by the way. You may not remember, but there was a consciousness in that journey, and here you are. So why not make the best of it? What if there are tools that are available to you that could change your life so dynamically, where some of you have maybe even given up? You don't have to give up. There is hope, there is possibilities, there is something different, but you do have to choose. That's the one thing. It's not like you're going to get struck by a bolt of lightning and everything will change. A lot will change. That will happen, actually. But at the end of the day, you still have to choose. You still have to put that one foot in front of the other. And what's beautiful about these tools is it's like a navigation system through the shit of this reality. And it's a navigation system so that you could actually access more of you, even when you're in the pits. So, yes, even you can become someone who changes someone's life by your very touch, by your very presence, your energy. But you got to start with you first. You got to start with you first. And yes, you could still have a magnificent life, even if those that you love and that are near and dear to you are destroying their lives. That doesn't have to be your reality. And it's all just a choice. So, what would you like to choose? So, my invitation is come and play. There's beautiful facilitators around the world. I can say that because I've been just about in every country around the world, and I know all of them. Not all of them, but almost all of them. And they're on this wild and wacky journey with me, and I am super grateful. And I know they really have a desire to be that contribution to you in your life through these tools. So I personally want to thank Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, and Dr. Dain Heer, the co-creator of Access Consciousness and the whole Being You, Changing the World universe, because they've both changed my life dynamically and these amazing tools.